Hey, and welcome to the Jessica Paul podcast. I'm your host, Jess Paul, actress, manifestation expert, and mindset coach. And I'm here to share with you all of my secrets on confidence, success, and the magic of manifestation. If you're ready to dive in deep and see more success in your career, more money in your bank account, and more love in your life, with a whole new level of freedom, then you're in the right place. I'm letting loose on everything you need to take back control of your life, up-level your mindset, and tap into your manifestation powers. I'm so excited that you're here. Hello, hi, it's me, it's Jess Paul. Welcome back to another episode of the JP podcast with me, your host, your mentor, your spiritual bestie, all of the great things. And I feel like it's been freaking forever since I've sat down and recorded a podcast episode. I think it's just because I've had so much going on in my life. Obviously, my last podcast episode was all about basically how to be productive and get shit done, because it's a quality that I'm very good at, but also sometimes I'm like, where the fuck has the time gone? But it feels really good to sit down. I'm in my new setup here, so I actually did a little post on Instagram just now that I've got this new setup because I've moved in with my parents for a few months before I get my shit together and go off to LA. And we should never feel like we've taken a step backwards in that way, because actually I was having this conversation with a client as well about like going back to somewhere you were before. But in fact, I think I'll do a whole podcast episode on this, because honestly, guys, like once you've vibrationally ascended and shifted, you can't go back from that space. So basically never be like, accept the help when it's needed, and know that you can never go backwards in life. You either stay the same or you move forwards. So anyway, so I'm back in my parents' house. I'm back in this setup that I've got going on right now, and it feels great. And I want to dive in today on an episode that's been a requested episode, and it's also something that I go on about all the time, and this is all to do with spiritual dimensions. So there are a number of spiritual dimensions in this universe, guys, that when we move through, we actually elevate our consciousness. And I'm going to explain what I mean there, but I talk a lot about the third dimension, 3D, 4D. I talk about the fifth dimension. I'm always going on about these things. And if any of you have been sitting there wondering, what the hell are you talking about, Jess? I'm going to explain it in today's episode. And also, I'm going to talk about how we use these different dimensions to elevate consciousness. So that just basically means ascend spiritually. But also, we've got to find a balance with these dimensions. We've got to find a balance with how we use like the third and the fourth and the fifth. These are like the main ones that we're going into. But even like there's actually 12 spiritual dimensions. But we've got to find a balance with them, because if we are too much in a certain dimension in our life, and I'll explain what they all are, then we can like become unbalanced spiritually, and that means that we're not actually going to see what the results that we want to see in this 3D world. And so this is something that I talk about a lot in my own manifestation process, because I actually incorporate the 3D, 4D, and 5D like primarily within my work, and it's something that I'm always thinking about, because it genuinely helps you manifest more quickly. Like it helps you manifest the shit that you want into your life when you can understand these spiritual dimensions. You can understand how to elevate into these different dimensions, and also how to be balanced within them. So this is what this episode is all about today. It's about what these spiritual dimensions actually are, how you can move into them, how you can play in them, and how you can use them to help you manifest. So, highly requested episode. Very much looking forward to digging in. But first, a sponsor for this week. So I don't actually have a sponsor for this week, because doors are finally officially closed for my brand new program, my Mindset, Miracles and Money program. I'm so excited to get going with this group of women. Oh, it's been so long since I've led a container of women through like with deep mindset coaching, and I cannot wait to go in on money and career and just manifesting the fuck out of 2023. I'm just so excited to get working again. But for those of you that like have missed out on that, or feel like you've missed out on that, because we never really miss out on anything, like it's all divine timing. But for those of you that are like, I wish that I got in that, I'm actually going to be doing another masterclass very, very soon in the new year. So basically keep your eyes peeled for that. Get signed up to my mailing list, because all of my new offers come out on my mailing list first. Follow me on Instagram, because I'm always on there telling you guys what's coming up next, but I do have some very exciting things in the pipeline because I've suddenly just had this freaking burst of inspiration, and I always get this right before the end of the year, and it's always good because we've got to move into the new year sped up in our vibration and like feeling fucking powerful, because we all are, and like so many people in life slow down around this time, and we need to know that actually like we can achieve the most in the last month of the year. And I actually am doing so much this month, so much. But so keep your eyes peeled for things that are going to be coming up in 2023. But also, if you guys are loving the podcast, then please go ahead, hit subscribe, leave a rate and review. You can just scroll down at the bottom if you listen on Apple Podcasts, and you can write out a written review there. You can leave 5 stars. You can leave 5 stars over on Spotify, or any of the other platform that you listen on. It means the absolute world to me when you do give this a little rate and review, and I love to see who's listening and who is involved in this gorgeous community. So please do go and give that little rate and review if you're loving it. And let's get into my life update. So life update for this week, guys. Obviously, you know that I've moved out, but also I'm actually filming for this film that I've been producing, because I've spoken about this before. Like, this is one of the many things that I'm doing this month, but I'm actually filming this week. I will, when this podcast episode goes out, I will be mid-filming, and we're going for about, so this is a short film, so like we're going for about 4 days, and everything is sorted out. We've got an amazing cast and crew together, and it's all just like, I've produced one other film before, and this one has just gone up like 10 times higher, like on a term in terms of professionalism and what we're about to produce, and the film festivals that we'll be entering into. It's just all very exciting. Anybody into film and acting and producing anything creative, because I know that I've got a mixture of people who listen to me, but I also know that as an actor, like I've got a lot of actors that listen. Go ahead and follow me over on my other Instagram account, because that's where I'm going to be documenting all of this. I'm going to be doing a lot of BTS footage and just taking you on the journey with me, because I love this side of my life. It's so important to me, and I'm so glad to have the opportunity to be not only producing but also acting, starring in it, and yeah, more to see on that, guys. So let's get in on today's episode, all about the spiritual dimensions, all about how it's going to help you when you know about these things. It's going to help you even more with your manifestation process. It's something I'm always thinking about, I'm always using, I'm always playing in each of these dimensions, and I hope you guys enjoy. So we want to chat about these different dimensions that you can live in, be in, embody, because they're all just as important for your manifestation process. And this is something that I was on a podcast interview literally just this afternoon, and we were chatting about this, because one thing that I see so often is that we can get stuck in our minds, right? There's a lot of mindset work that goes on. I talk about it all the time, right? I constantly tell you guys that your whole reality, your whole life right now is just a set of beliefs. And when you can really empower your belief system and like let go of your limiting beliefs, let go of these blocks, then you're going to see so much change in your life. And that is so true, right? And that is exactly what I've seen in my own life, because I actually went through a mindset awakening before I went through a spiritual awakening. So I was very much in that fourth dimension, in that like just in this mindset, like, okay, what am I thinking? What am I believing? All of this. But what I've seen recently is that so often we can get stuck in our minds. And when we're stuck in our minds, what can happen is we can shift into fear. We can really be in fear mode about a lot of things. We can like overthink things. We can get stuck in our own heads about how we've done something and replay things. And, you know, it's a good thing to think about your mindset, because you know, if you've got an empowered mindset and you're thinking positive thoughts and you're, you know, really empowering that, then that's a great thing. And we need to do that with everything we're trying to manifest, right? We need to think about our mindset. It's a big part of my work. However, my USP and like the name of my academy is the Mindset Miracles and Manifestation Academy. And because of that, I've actually got those 3 different dimensions in there, right? I've got the 3rd, the 4th, and the 5th dimensions in there. There's actually 12 dimensions, but we're going to talk about third, fourth, fifth, moving into sixth, seventh, eighth, those kind of ones for now for this episode, because they're kind of the basic ones, right? So I'm going to talk you through, first of all, what the third dimension is. Let's just go from the beginning, okay? So the third dimension, this is your physical reality, guys. This is your physical 3D world. So the world that we live in right now, we can see things, we can touch things, we can taste things, we can feel things, like everything in the, like our senses can do right now. This is in this 3D. And so if you think of it like, I wish this was a video because I could show you like a diagram, but if you just imagine you've got a picture of a human being and you've drawn out the body, and then imagine drawing out like an aura around that body and then another aura, and you've got like bodies and bodies and bodies, right? We're actually like lots of different bodies. This is how I would describe it, okay? We've got our physical body, which is the one that we can see. This is the one that we dress every day. This is the one that we take to the gym. This is the one that we can see, right? This is the one that we're living in right now. And so in your 3D, what we're doing is we're working with the physical. We're working with what is going on in our physical reality. And I always say that manifestation is a physical process, because the actual meaning of manifestation is bringing something from our imagination and putting it into the physical world. So as an example, you want to manifest £5,000. You're imagining that £5,000, you're doing the inner work to get to that £5,000, and then you're taking the physical action to bring that £5,000 into your reality. And that's like any manifestation. And yes, you can have like emotional manifestations in the sense of like, manifesting your self-love or manifesting your empowerment, but usually what we're talking about is manifesting physical things into our reality. So therefore we have to play in the physical. So this is why this 3D, this third dimension, is really, really important, because it's the dimension that a lot of the time when we get too much into this work, we forget about. We forget that taking action is the most freaking important part of the process. And I'm a very action-orientated person, which is why I've seen so much success. But this is what the third dimension essentially is. And we have to learn to love taking action and playing in this physical and being in this physical, because as well, for those of my spiritual besties, like when you go through a spiritual awakening, we can kind of feel like we can get into hermit mode. And this is what has happened. This is what happened to me, guys, this year very strongly. I remember entering into 2022 feeling like a hermit. I literally spent New Year's Eve on my own. And I've like been a hermit for most of this year. And the thing is, we have to remember that actually experiencing life in this physical 3D world is why we're here. It's why we're in it's why we're in the 3D, okay? So it's really important to learn to love that and go out and do experience these things, do meet people, do take the action and enjoy taking the action, because it's a big part of the process. So that's the 3D, and that's what I'd call, in my USP, Mindset, Miracles and Manifestation, that's what I'd call the manifestation, because that is what it is. It's bringing the physical, it's bringing your imagination into the physical and making it a 3D thing in your world, right? Now, the next dimension is the fourth dimension. And this is what I was just explaining just before about us being in our mindsets, being in our minds. So if you, again, think of like that drawing, this is the body outside of your physical one, right? This is the first body outside of your physical one. I hope that I'm explaining this okay. Now, the fourth dimension, this is our belief system. This is our thoughts, these patterns that we get into. And as I said, guys, if we're too much in this place, we can move into this mode of fear. We can get so wrapped up in what we're thinking all the time that we forget to feel anything. And it's really important that we don't get stuck in our own minds when we do this work, when we do any kind of mindset work, and that we know we're in full control. Like, this is part of just taking responsibility and knowing that you're in control of how you think 100% of the time. But that doesn't mean that you have to overthink, okay? And I'd say that this is probably where a lot of people trip. I'd say probably in the self-development space, this is where people do tend to get stuck. This is why I have my element of magic and my spiritual element on top of everything I do, because it's that spiritual space that brings me out of my mind. It brings me into my body, but also it brings me into a place of feeling, right? So that's the fourth dimension. It's really like a mindset space. Now, the fifth dimension is the dimension that I have mentioned time and time again on the podcast, where I've been like, I'm going to explain it, and I'll explain it right now. So the fifth dimension is a realm that I have been playing in so much, especially this year, but ever since really my ex broke up with me and I went on this big transformational journey, I've been playing in the fifth dimension ever since then. And actually, it's funny when I look back on some periods of my life and go, oh my God, wow, I really was embodying the fifth dimension. And now I feel like I'm not so much. And it's really, really interesting to reassess that. But the fifth dimension is what I would call your space of love, right? The fifth dimension is also what I'd call your decision-making space. So one question that I always ask myself when I'm about to go and do something for the first time, or when I'm trying something out, is, am I doing this from a space of love or from a space of fear? And this is all part of embodying the fifth dimension. So often in life, we can do things out of a space of fear, which is why I say when you get caught up in that fourth dimension, in that way of thinking, that mindset space, you can operate out of fear. And an example here for me in my own life, years ago, I struggled with eating and I struggled with body dysmorphia and I really hated the way I looked. So I would go to the gym every single day and I would do that from a space of fear. Because I was going because I hated myself. I was going because I didn't like the way I looked and I wanted to change the way I looked and I wanted to punish my body for that. So that was a space of fear, right? Nowadays, with all of the work I've done and in how I feel about myself now, I fucking love my body and I think I look great. And so I go to the gym now. When I do go to the gym, it's because it's coming from a place of love. It's coming from a place of empowerment. I'm going because I want to be there and because I want to look after my body and because I love myself, right? So that's coming from a space of love, and that is you operating in the fifth dimension. Now, when you can operate in this fifth dimension, your whole life will fucking change, okay? Your whole life will change. And this is why it is the centerpiece of every single bit of work that I do and the centerpiece of every work I do for myself. This fifth dimensional space is going to set you apart from everybody else, right? Remembering that you are love, remembering to love other people, even if they've hurt you, to love yourself, to love what you're doing, to love your desires, to love the darkness in life as well as the light in life, to love the polarity, just to fucking love, right? And I know it might sound a little bit wishy-washy and a little bit like, I don't know, hippie-ish for me to be like, yeah, just love everybody. It's honestly the thing that is going to set you apart from everybody else, because whenever I've brought out, let's put it into the physical and let's talk about, like, give an example that you'll all relate to. Let's think about career and business. Whenever I release a program or something in my business and it isn't coming from a fifth dimensional space of love, where I fucking love what I've brought out, I love what I'm giving, I feel like I'm giving a hell of a lot of value. If I create programs that aren't from that space, nobody fucking cares. Literally nobody cares. And I never create programs from that space because there's just no point in my eyes. But this is one of the reasons I see most business owners not actually like getting their shit done, because they're not doing it from a place of love, right? And you can do this in any business that you're in. You don't have to be in like a service-based, self-development business. But if you're coming from a space of love, genuine love for what you're doing, people are going to fucking feel that. People are going to feel that from you. So that's why in this manifestation process, in my own manifestation process, because everybody's are a little bit different and, there's lots of manifestation mentors out there, but I just do my own fucking thing because it works. This works, and it's worked for every single one of my clients, and it works for me. mine is a mixture of all of this. So as I said, going back to my USP, the mindset is the 4th dimension. The miracles is the 5th dimension. The manifestation is the 3rd dimension. Okay. So that's really embodying it all is what is going to bring you to your desires very, very quickly. And the thing is, what tends to happen is if we're operating too much in like a specific dimension, let's say, for example, you're too much in the 3D, that means you're doing too much, basically. Like you're just overworking and you're doing too much in the physical world because you think that you have to keep doing in the physical to make shit happen. Yes, you do have to do that, but if you're doing that too much and not embodying the other dimensions, then you're just going to burn yourself out and feel like shit, okay? And you're not actually going to see things manifest for you. Equally, if you're too much in the 4th dimension and you're not embodying enough of the others, then you're just in your mind too much. You're just like replaying things in your mind. You're overthinking things. You're not getting shit done for that reason. And you're living in fear. Like that's what's going to happen if you're too much in that mode. Equally, if you're too much in the 5th dimension, then you're just going to be floating around like loving and, it feels great, but you're not put on this earth for that reason. Like there's no point in being in a physical 3D world if you're not going to play in it. So it actually won't do anything for you. You can have like a great imagination and you can feel great, but you're not actually going to bring anything into your reality. So that's why there has to be this balance between them all, because otherwise, because you just don't want to get stuck in one of them. So like you might already know, like even if you like assess for yourself, like with each dimension, which one you might be playing in too much right now. And it's always very, very important to reassess that and kind of understand that. Like I said, I remember years ago, I was so in my 5th dimension, and I realized over this year, I started moving back into this 4th dimensional, like overthinking phase. And I was like, okay, I've got to get myself out of this, right? So that's why like all of them together is like the perfect recipe for manifesting your desires. So then moving into like the 6th dimension, the 7th dimension, 8th dimension, like these really are the dimensions that I'm kind of playing in right now. So these are the dimensions where your 6th dimension is really where you start to embody this intuition. It's where you really start to embody listening to what your intuition is telling you, to what your inner guidance is telling you, because you're always being guided. And I obviously like to talk to my guides, my spirit guides. I like to talk to my angels. I like to talk to, the universe in general, God, whatever you want to call it, right? It's all the same freaking thing, but your spirit guides are something different. And that's, again, something that I'm going to do an episode on for you. But being able to listen to your intuition, your inner guidance, that's playing in the 6th dimension. And then when you move into the 7th and the 8th dimension, they're the dimensions that I'm playing in, because they're the dimensions where you start to receive messages. So these are more of the psychic realms. These are more of the realms where you start to really start channeling from these spaces, from God, from source, from wherever. And again, some of you might be into that, some of you might not, but that's just the fucking truth. And it's what I'm playing in. And it's something that I've actually not shared yet on the podcast. I'm probably not going to share it right now, but all you need to know is that that's what I've been playing in. And this work I love to do with my clients. I love to do, especially with my entrepreneurs, my business owners, but also like anybody that's trying to manifest growth in their careers, like, as actors as well. Anybody that's trying to progress in that area, like I love incorporating this work into our work together, because I find that when you can become like a conscious business owner and a conscious performer, or a conscious person basically, but when you can really add that element of consciousness into whatever you're doing, you're just going to see results so quickly. You're going to see really quick results. Again, you're going to be in this quantum that I always keep talking about. So have a think for yourself, like make it part of your homework this week to have a think which dimension you're playing in most at the moment, and whether that is hindering you or helping you right now. Because it might be not helping you if you are stuck in the 4th dimension right now. It might not be helping you if you're reading all these mindset books and reading this mindset material and getting stuck in your own mind. Like you might need to get into your body, or you might need to start feeling more. You might need to love more. Like have a little assess for yourself where you could be at right now, which dimension you might be playing in. Let me know in the DMs over on Instagram at I am Jessica Paul. Let me know what dimension you're playing in. Tag me on your Instagram stories and go back to my USP, Mindset, Miracles, and Manifestation, and know that it embodies those three main dimensions that if you can get a hold of and embody and understand and utilize every single day in a balance, then you're going to see so much more flow into your life. So I hope you've all enjoyed today's episode. Make sure to go and give it a little rate and review if you're loving the podcast, as always, and keep your eyes peeled for more exciting things coming out in the new year for 2023. Sending so much love, and I'll chat to you guys next week. Thanks for tuning in, guys. If this episode resonated with you, share it with a friend who you think would love it too. And if you want to let me know how you found it, just screenshot this episode, add it to your Instagram story, and tag me at I am Jessica Paul so that I can throw all the love right back at you. And of course, subscribe, hit those 5 stars, and leave a review to show your support and to keep the good stuff coming. Sending you so much love and gratitude from your girl Jess.